His Savior Tour 2024 officially kicks off in West Allis this afternoon. The media has been working overtime over the past 24 hours to turn her into the messianic figure that the left needs in order to have any prayer of beating Donald Trump. But could Democrats, in their haste to rig a primary for the third consecutive cycle, could they have picked the single worst possible candidate? You'll never believe who actually thinks so. The New York Times. Welcome to the Dan O'Donnell Show. I am Dan. You want to join us? Give us a call. Shoot us a text. The AdventKnows.com talk and text line is open, as it always is, 414-799-1130. Reach us toll free, 1-800-838-9476. Email me directly, DOD@iHeartMedia.com, at Dan O'Donnell Show on X, Facebook.com/Dan O'Donnell Show, where you can watch the show streaming live. Please do give us a retweet, or if you will, repost on X. Share the live feed on Facebook to help us get out of conservative algorithmic hell. And be sure to, as the kids say, like and subscribe to the Dan O'Donnell Show channel on YouTube. I'm not saying that there is artificial suppression of conservative content, but we'll average about 50 YouTube viewers. We'll get about 25 on Facebook and 1,000 on X. Which one was bought and explicitly turned into a free speech channel? I bet you can never guess. Sizzling summer cash contest word this hour is, in fact, cash. C-A-S-H, cash. You have got until 55 past this hour to go to our website and enter the keyword cash to enter the contest for this hour. Well, I don't believe that it's been officially announced yet, but seeing as Fox News' reporter this morning was outside West Allis Central High School, I think it's safe to say that the cat is out of the bag. I actually learned very early this morning. I'm not sure why all the secrecy surrounding Kamala Harris's visit. Well, yes, it probably was, Dave, the assassination, but I actually have, from a very trusted source, it wasn't so much fears over an assassination, last minute, here's where she's going to go. I have it from a very plugged-in source that there were 3 different venues that were originally selected. Remember, this is Kamala's very first campaign stop. She was meeting with staff in Delaware after, of course, meeting with President Biden, who we assume is alive. We think is alive. Is it too much to demand a picture of President Biden with today's newspaper? Can we get some proof of life? There was a little bit of a snafu feeding into I don't want to call them conspiracy theories, because the one thing about pretty much every conspiracy theory over the past 5 or 6 years is that it's come true. As recently as this February, and we'll get into that a little bit later on in the show, the media was running. NBCnews.com had a piece about a conservative conspiracy theory that Joe Biden wouldn't actually be the Democratic nominee. What an incredible conspiracy. I don't want to say there is a conspiracy that really hit a fever pitch last night as Charlie Kirk tweeted out what essentially amounted to a rumor from sources at the Las Vegas Metro Police Department that Biden suffered some sort of medical emergency. Remember, there was a rumor going around on July 5th that he had a medical emergency aboard Air Force One. Well, what Kirk was reporting, with near as I can tell, and I love Charlie. I met Charlie at the RNC. He seems like a very decent guy, but this seemed like remarkably thin sourcing, that Biden is essentially near death. And then, of course, if there is something that's out there and thinly sourced, Laura Loomer is going to be all over. Believe it or not, producer Dave met Laura Loomer at the RNC. She was there with one of her handlers, and she was just kind of walking around looking for media interviews. Loomer is reasonably well known on conservative Twitter, or I guess conservative X. She's sort of a gadfly. She does these sort of stunt type reporting that, frankly, I think is beneath her, because she is a very talented broadcaster. She's just kind of out there, and some people think she's half nuts. Frankly, I think to be in the broadcasting business, we all have to be half nuts, so to each their own. But she hopped on that and said Biden is in hospice care. There's literally no evidence, but it is very odd that we get a statement from Biden, not on official White House letterhead, or not even on Joe Biden letterhead, but a piece of paper that just says Joe Biden at the top. Biden's signature. Now, I don't want to get too deep in the weeds here, but it is very interesting. When Biden signs his name for Joe, he just sort of has a diagonal line and then R. Biden. This one was his signature, but it was underlined for some reason. That's fed off some theories that Biden literally doesn't know. They've kept him in COVID isolation and literally doesn't know that he's actually resigned his run. I think some of the fears of that were alleviated yesterday when he was on an audio recording or a phone call when Kamala Harris was addressing her campaign staff in Delaware. The campaign staff she inherited from Biden. But she had a little bit of a snafu where she said, as you heard from President Biden on the phone call, we'll try to get that audio a little bit later. She had to stop herself. But I think Biden is alive and as well as can be expected. It's just very weird given the gravity of this moment. Remember, I was the one who called it. Not just that, Biden was going to be replaced. I rather famously lost a $100 bet to Dave Spano, although I conceded as soon as I saw the media flip following the debate on June 27th, I knew there was no chance he was going to stay in this race. He was going to fight like hell, and that's why it's hilarious to see all the media. Well, Biden is just like George Washington, willingly giving up power. He had to be dragged kicking and screaming off the stage, and it's entirely possible that he doesn't even know he resigned, that all of this was done in his name. The only part of this that I got wrong, and I called on Friday, look, you're going to see a statement about midday Sunday. Sure enough, long about 1 p.m. Central Time, we get the statement. Then I said, Biden is going to do a press conference, or rather, he's going to do an Oval Office address to the nation where he essentially says goodbye. All of this is in the works. The speech is written. The only part I got wrong was Biden is clearly not in a good enough place physically or mentally or perhaps both in order to do that. So Kamala is here in Wisconsin. She's at West Allis Central. And I got it from a reliable source that there were several venues that were picked before Central High School. And they were actually the pre-preparation team that goes on the ground first before someone of Kamala's magnitude, a president or a vice president. There's a setup team that will arrive a couple of days ahead of time or a day ahead of time to prep the venue. Secret Service obviously has to get in place. They have to get their staging area, which might or might not include not securing nearby buildings. We'll get to all the highlights from that bombshell bit of testimony that even called for Democrats to demand that Kim Cheadle, the director of the Secret Service, resign. Do you know how badly you have to suck to get Democrats to demand a fellow Democrat resigns? Guy Benson of Fox News actually had a spectacular tweet toward this end. The very first person to be forced out of the Biden-Harris administration for extreme incompetence in their job was Joe Biden. Kamala's going to Central, but I am told by a reliable source that there were multiple venues that were picked first, but because of deep confusion surrounding what exactly was going to happen, what the nature of this visit was going to be, obviously, 48 hours, a little less than 48 hours ago, you had the president effectively step down. Not from the presidency, because, of course, you don't need to be physically or mentally healthy if you're a Democrat to run the country, just to run for the office so that you don't lose. Because of that, there was so much confusion that they had to do last-second change of venues at least twice. Now, I don't know what this means for Secret Service preparations. My guess is that West Allis Central is going to be completely secure, that there are going to be no issues. But it just goes to show that everyone here is flying by the seat of their pants. So Kamala is scheduled to touch down in Milwaukee at about noon. We would imagine that she speaks at 1 o'clock Central. I'm not sure, producer Dave, is this something that we break into? Probably not. Clay and Buck, of course, will provide coverage. Dave says absolutely not. Dude, it's her first campaign stop as the presidential nominee. I think there's news value in that. Then again, like you, I would not want to listen to her cackle for 45 minutes while she speaks. And unlike you, I would have to be the one to listen to every single second because I'd be anchoring our breaking news coverage. But although the Secret Service and the White House's or Biden-Harris campaign's preparation and comms team seemed unprepared for Kamala's first visit as a presidential nominee, the media was prepared to pivot on a dime. On Sunday, long before, well, not that long before, but in the time span of how quickly this is going, 2 hours is a long time. Long before, as in maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours before every single Democrat just suddenly coalesced around Kamala, the New York Times senior writers put together a chart based on data points that they kind of collected as to who would be the most electable of all of the possible contenders to be the Democratic nominee. They put in J.B. Pritzker and Gavin Newsom and Chuck Schumer and Andy Beshear, the governor of Texas, and they ranked them on a scatter plot from most electable to least electable. Guess who they rated as the single least electable candidate out of about 12? Kamala Harris. But that hasn't stopped the media from doing what the media does. Do you remember in 2008, very infamously, Chris Matthews got a thrill running up his leg while talking about watching Barack Obama speak, when even Hillary Clinton was complaining about the media coverage that Barack Obama was getting, not as the first black candidate, but as a messianic figure who is going to save the world. Remember Obama, this is still one of the funniest things in the world to me. Before he had ever done a single thing in early 2009, he's awarded the Nobel Peace Prize. That will never cease to be funny. As long as I'm going to be like 81 years old, about as senile as Joe Biden, and I'm just going to turn to my wife in the next wheelchair and say, you remember when Obama was given the Nobel Peace Prize, even though he didn't do anything, and then proceeded to drone strike the hell out of all sorts of people across the Middle East? That was awesome. But Matthews said he got a thrill running up his leg, and the coverage of Barack Obama was such that even Clinton realized that it was impossible to defeat, because once the media recognized that if we just pump up this guy who can give a decent speech and read a teleprompter better than Hillary can, because we don't really like Hillary that much, we can advance him. And remember, Barack Obama's campaign in 2007 was actually kind of struggling. He was seen as a huge upstart, long shot candidate to unseat Hillary Clinton, who was the heir apparent for several years, right? Unfortunately for her, they started treating Obama as the savior of the world. Within 24 hours, hell, within about 5, they started to do the same thing, and I mean the exact same thing, to Kamala Harris. Chris Matthews had the thrill running up his leg. Donnie Deutsch of MSNBC remarked about the twinkle in Kamala's eye that gave him chills.
There was a twinkle in her eye. There was a kick in her step that, when you're vice president, you're not loose. You can't, there's somebody above you. There's somebody, you don't want to overshadow them. And this was quite the coming out. And I got chills when she said, Donald Trump, I know your type.
He got chills running up his leg. In fact, Alencia Johnson, a talking head on CNN, made an even more direct comparison. She said the excitement people are feeling about about Kamala Harris, exactly like Obama 2008.
I am smiling because, one, yes, Democrats are extremely excited right now. But this moment, we were talking about this in the green room. Honestly, the calls that I've been getting beyond the Beltway, this really feels like Obama 2008 when my dad was running around saying fired up and ready to vote.
Just like 2008. But what about all of the Democrats who said that, you know what, Kamala is pretty cringy? Remember, she was so unpopular in her own party, she didn't get a single primary vote. People have been remarking on the fact that it is truly stunning. It is an incredible feat that Kamala is now the presumptive Democratic Party nominee. She does have the backing, according to an Associated Press whip count of all of the delegates. She has the backing of 2,000 delegates, meaning when there is an open convention and Biden is going to release his delegates, here's what happens. On the first vote, they are pledged to vote for whoever it is that won the state that they represent. However, if Biden releases the delegates on a second vote, it becomes an open convention and they can vote for whomever they want. 2,000 of them, far more than a majority needed to become the nominee, have now pledged their support to Kamala Harris. It happened, folks, within, a day? Oh, yes, we're going to have an open, transparent process, and then, whoops, it's Kamala. As always, the one honest Democrat in media is CNN's Van Jones, who remarked, and I think he doesn't realize what a big tell this is, on how Kamala went from cringy to cool in just 24 hours.
That's hard to quantify because what's happening on TikTok right now is extraordinary. All of the things that were cringy about Kamala, her laugh, the coconut tree comment, being unburdened by all those weird things she said, she's gone from cringe to cool in 24 hours as a whole generation has taken all that content and remixed it in all these incredible TikTok videos.
Oh, yes, and that's totally organic. You might recall the Biden-Harris campaign was employing TikTok influencers to do just that. But how exactly does Kamala go from cringy to cool in 24 hours? The same way that she's going to go from also ran who didn't get a single vote in a single Democrat primary to the greatest Democrat since Barack Obama. We will discuss the media's ability to shape perception. Coming up next here on The Dan O'Donnell Show. Dan O'Donnell here for my awesome friends at Built Right Furniture. Built Right's July sale and clearance mattress sale is on now. Shop the most unique selection of mattresses with over 60 models and 500 mattresses in stock. Choose from the best brands made in the USA, including Heirloom, Restonic, Therapeutic, Schiffman, and more. Built Right always saves you money. Don't make a mistake by ordering online or from an employee-free store. Built Right makes it easy, and with their legitimate sale prices, you'll get an exceptional value and a great night's sleep as I do on my Built Right Heirloom mattress. They do the research for you and their team will take the time to help fit you. Built Right specializes in hard-to-find, flippable, two-sided, and heavy-duty mattresses that hold up to 600 pounds. Plus, Built Right offers free delivery and removal on mattress-only purchases of $799 or more. Tell them Dan O'Donnell sent you to Built Right at 54th and Layton in Greenfield, just off I-894.
Associated Bank knows your small business isn't just a venture. It's your dream and a vital part of the community. And we're not just a bank. We're your neighbors. We're looking out for you. That's why Associated Bank offers quick online applications and approvals with funding in as fast as one business day, checking with no minimum balances or maintenance fees, and prompt customer service. Explore our products at associatedbank.com/business or visit a branch for more details. Subject to credit approval. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Unlock big savings with Schlag Locks from Menards. Whether you're looking for a traditional interior lock or a Wi-Fi compatible electronic lock, Menards has you covered with more than 200 options of Schlag Locks available. Save big on Schlag Locks at Menards, America's #1 home improvement retailer for customer satisfaction, according to J.D. Power. For J.D. Power 2024 award information, visit jdpower.com/awards.
Save big money at Menards.
Hey guys, Donald Trump Jr. here. Let me ask you this. Does inflation feel worse than what we're being told in the news? That's because the official inflation rate doesn't tell the whole story. Since January 2021, the cost of living has increased by 17.9%. You can't get that money back, but what you can do is stop your losses today. How? By diversifying your savings into a gold IRA from my friends at Birch Gold Group. When you're done, your money will be parked in a tangible asset with a proven history. To see how it works, get your free info kit on gold IRAs by texting the word PROTECT to 989898. I trust Birch Gold. They provide an easy process to roll over your 401k or IRA into gold without losing your tax advantaged status. So text PROTECT to 989898. That's PROTECT to the number 989898 to get your free info kit on gold IRAs from Birch Gold.
Message and data rates may apply.
Classical conservatism, but contemporary style. It is the Dan O'Donnell Show. Welcome back to it. Think of me as sort of a Dollar Tree Sean Hannity, right? I'm just as God made me. Van Jones is the most often unintentionally honest Democrat working in media. You might remember he was in the Obama administration and very quickly fired when it was discovered, I believe by Glenn Beck, but don't quote me on that he was an open and unapologetic socialist. Now, this was back when Democrats had to convince voters that they weren't socialists. And it is sort of remarkable, their leftward lurch over the past 15 years. No, we're not socialists, to if they didn't rig their primaries in both 2016 and 2020 against Bernie Sanders, they would have wound up with an open, avowed socialist as their presidential nominee. Well, Van Jones has been remarkably honest, saying after the debate, look, we love Biden, everybody loves Biden, but this just reveals that we can no longer cover for him. We can no longer cover this up, and Joe needs to go. Van Jones last night on CNN remarked on how incredible it was that Kamala had gone from cringy to cool in 24 hours.
That's hard to quantify because what's happening on TikTok right now is extraordinary. All the things that were cringy about Kamala, her laugh, the coconut tree comment, being unburdened by all those weird things she said, she's gone from cringe to cool in 24 hours as a whole generation has taken all that content and remixed it in all these incredible TikTok videos.
Oh, yes. It's because of those TikTok videos that she went cringy to cool. By the way, what he's talking about, the coconut tree comment, yet another, as we are going through all of Kamala's greatest hits this week in honor of her ascendancy here on the Dan O'Donnell Show. She wanted to know whether young people just fell out of a coconut tree.
You think you just fell out of a coconut tree? You exist in the context of all in which you live and what came before you.
I'm telling you, Kamala is the epitome. First of all, that cackle, it reminds they got to pump her full of sedatives or something to stop that cackle from creeping out, because it reminds people of Hillary Clinton. It is almost exactly, in fact, producer Dave, can we get a remix of cackles? Can we have a cackle off between Kamala and Hillary Clinton? Because I'm telling you, it's the exact same cackle. And if there was one mannerism, if there was one vocal production that cost Hillary Clinton the presidency in 2016, it was that cackle, because it just It's so grating. And now, of course, how much you want to bet the Journal-Sentinel is going to be out there saying that I'm sexist? Did you read today's paper about their fears of retaliatory violence? Apparently, I am engaging in the right-wing rhetoric that might lead to an assassination attempt on Kamala or Joe Biden. You think I am kidding? No, I want a comparison. I want a cackle off between Hillary and Kamala. You got a Kamala cackle remix? All right, I'm intrigued. Lay it on me, brother. Okay, I'm sorry. Stop. I feel like they play that to prisoners at Guantanamo Bay. Yeah. Is it a nervous tick? Yes. It's how, okay, you know what it is, actually? When she cackles, she's transported to a state of full consciousness where she can see what can be unburdened by what has been. Yeah, of course, I think it's a nervous tick. But how the media is going to try to get you to forget everything that they have reported about her. Remember, she was the border czar. The border is an abject failure. She went to Europe the day before Putin invaded Ukraine to say, yes, Vlad, guess what? Our sanctions are targeting you. We do have some breaking news just in. Fox News is reporting that the director of the Secret Service, Kimberly Cheatle, has resigned. We're going to pivot very quickly, step aside for a break, see if we can get the resignation statement, and we will have much more. But the breaking news, Kimberly Cheatle, after a little more than a week following the assassination attempt on Donald Trump's life, which she herself called in congressional testimony yesterday the single biggest failure of the Secret Service in decades. She is out. Should we go very quickly? Is Fox covering this, or do we have live coverage from Fox? Let's go to Fox News very quickly if we can.
Well, Bill, I think that I'm glad she's resigning. I'm glad she's no longer going to be the head of the Secret Service. I wish she had been fired, because, I mean, we need to change the culture of that organization. There were so many. This was a catastrophic failure to protect the former president and, quite frankly, also the leading candidate to be the next president. And she had the most abysmal performance that I'd ever seen, and not just my 4 years in Congress, but the most abysmal performance I've ever seen in front of a congressional committee in the 30 years since I've been a nerd watching C-SPAN in my 20s.
That is Pat Fallon, a Republican congressman from Texas, member of the House Oversight Committee, speaking live on Fox News. We're going to step aside for a break, provide more coverage of the resignation, not entirely unexpected, but sudden, of the Secret Service director.
Classical conservatism, contemporary style. Dan O'Donnell will be right back.
Dan O'Donnell for the Lynch family of dealerships, letting you know about the Lynch tent sales event. Summer has finally arrived, and that means it's time to get your vehicle ready for that annual road trip up north, or maybe you're heading out to your favorite county fair or concert. You can always trust the Lynch Service Department with their convenient hours to get your vehicle safe and ready for the road. But maybe your current ride needs a little more TLC than usual. Maybe it's time to visit the showroom and receive a $2,500 trade assist on top of Kelley Blue Book Fair trade-in value for your current car. It's the Lynch Tent Sales Event all month long, with hundreds of vehicles priced aggressively to sell and a $2,500 trade assistance on top of Kelley Blue Book Fair value. The deals are heating up at Lynch. Take that road trip up north in the comfort of a new or Lynch-certified car, truck, or SUV. The Lynch Tent Sales Event happening all month long. Visit a showroom today or visit shoplynch.com.
Hot summer night. Lightning strike. Down goes the tree, right through their bedroom wall, nearly ruining a walnut headboard, which is pretty hard wood. Fortunately, the customers were okay. But the headboard? That wasn't. Until they called us. We made that Victorian headboard better than new. So if you're looking for the finest in furniture finishing, repair, and heirloom restoration, by golly, it's Mullally. Mullally Furniture Finishing and Repair. We're no job's too small. Serving everywhere. Quality counts. Well, if you haven't heard me bragging by now, we're darn good. Actually, my dad has no qualms about saying we're the best. And if you're skeptical, I understand. But all you have to do is go to MalaliFinishing.com to learn why we're great at what we do and see lots of before and after photos that show off our impressive work. So if you're looking for a name you can trust, by golly, it's Malali. Malali Furniture Finishing and Repair. Serving everywhere. Quality counts. MULLALY Finishing.com.
I'm Brett Ochtenhagen, owner of Brett Ochtenhagen Seasonal Services, and I'm so proud to be a father, a husband, an entrepreneur, a Christian, and an American. My wife Amy and I did our best to educate our children about our reasons for embracing traditional values. Recently, Amy and I became empty nesters, and now our young adults are in the real world with the American dream in their heads, their hearts, and soon it will be in their hands to share with others. God is good. Marriage and children are a blessing. Capitalism works, and America is grand. She is rich with beautiful places to explore. She's a melting pot of beautiful people. Diverse? Yes. But we are still blessed to have so much in common. Ignore the politicians and the media who sow seeds of hate. Let's embrace the wonders of life, liberty, freedom, and the pursuit of happiness in America. Join me in discovering the wonders of nature and the wonders of America.
Looking for the perfect wedding gift? Give a gift card from By the Yard. For a limited time, you'll get a $25 gift card free with every $250 you spend on By the Yard gift cards. Get your gift cards at By the Yard's new showroom in Oconomowoc. Call now or visit bytheyard.net for details.
When Home Depot couldn't help him with an off-size door jamb, they told him to come here. And we had it, with multiple options to choose from. It's true, Lisbon Storm Screen and Door is the best place to go for your unusual size window and door needs. And of course for your custom orders. We're known for all things windows and doors. And that goes for the knowledge you'll find here too, which by the way, comes at no extra charge. It's been like this for over 60 years, and I don't see it changing anytime soon. You might call us old-fashioned, but the way I see it, when it comes to pleasing our customers, if it's not broke, there's no need to fix it. We're all things windows and doors, and when it comes to that, we're definitely your clear choice for more. This is David Wilhelm. There's no need to go to those big box stores hoping they'll have what you need, because we have what you need for all your window and door replacement or repair needs at Lisbon Storm Screen and Door. Easy to find on 51st and Lisbon.
Your clear choice for more. Lisbon Storm Screen and Door.
Find out more at lisbonstorm.com.
Be sure to listen to the NX Wealth Management Investment Show Saturday mornings at 11 and Sunday afternoons at 1 on News Talk 1130 WISN. NX provides its expertise to arm listeners with the knowledge and tools to invest wisely. NX Wealth Management. Know the difference.
The doctor's office that mixed up your files has your Social Security number. The power company that mistakenly cut your service has your payment info and last 3 addresses. Your info is in endless places that could accidentally expose your info to identity theft. That's why LifeLock monitors millions of data points every second. If your identity's stolen, they'll fix it guaranteed or your money back. Save up to 40% your first year with promo code CLAY at LifeLock.com. Terms apply.
Quality Service Maintenance Plans. D&M offers an easy-to-understand and easy-on-the-budget maintenance plan. From 1 unit to multiple units. With savings on repairs, no overtime fees, priority service, and yearly maintenance, why wait? Call us today to learn more about why so many customers like yourselves enjoy the peace of mind that comes with a D&M Quality Service Plan. Call 414-281-5350 or visit us at dmheating.com.
D&M at your service.
Turn to the experts, Carrier and D&M.
Hey everyone, it's Ted from Consumer Cellular, the guy in the orange sweater, and this is your wake-up call. If you're paying too much for wireless service, you don't have to keep having that nightmare. Consumer Cellular has the same fast, reliable coverage as the leading carriers for up to half the cost. So why keep spending more than you have to? Seriously, wake up and call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com.
Savings based on cost of Consumer Cellular single line 1, 5, and 10 gig data plans with unlimited talk and text compared to lowest cost single line postpaid unlimited talk, text, and data plans offered by T-Mobile and Verizon January 2024.
Secret Service Director Kimberly Cheetle has handed in her resignation. She now becomes the second high-profile member of the Biden administration to be thrown overboard because of incompetence. The first being Joe Biden himself. Fantastic tweet remarking on that by Guy Benson, great friend of the Dan O'Donnell Show, Fox News contributor and radio host. Also a very good guy. I saw him very, very briefly, just got to shake hands and say hi at the Republican National Convention last week. So Cheetle is out. And producer Dave, speaking of fantastic observations, during the commercial break asked, do you think the hearing yesterday was Kim Cheetle's Biden debate moment? If she's able to survive this, if she doesn't look like a blithering idiot, she's allowed to keep her job. Yes, actually, Dave, I do. She failed the test, and therefore she is out. In reality, you knew that this was happening as we were broadcasting yesterday. The hearing was going on, and as soon as we wrapped up, I was able to watch a good portion of it. And the thing that absolutely stuck out to me is that, A, the Democratic ranking member of the Oversight Committee, Jamie Raskin, immediately came out and said, I believe you need to resign. Later in the day, he co-signed a letter with the chairman of the committee, Republican Jim Comer, saying, we're demanding that she step down. She has lost the faith of this Congress. She needs to step down. So too did other Democrats in their questioning of Cheetle yesterday, make it abundantly clear, including of all people, AOC. But Democrats being Democrats, there was a whole lot of ridiculousness at yesterday's hearing. Jasmine Crockett, perhaps most famous for, picking a fight with MTG on the floor. We called it the Waffle House of Representatives. MTG said she looked like she had way too many fake eyelashes or something like that, and Crockett just went off. I'm telling you, it looked and sounded like the Waffle House of Representatives. It was hilarious. Crockett said Cheetle needed to resign because the Secret Service did not have enough racial bias training, and therefore agents were unable to determine that a white man with a gun was a threat.
One of my questions has to do with if you have any bias training that your officers undergo. And the reason that I ask that, because as a civil rights lawyer, I have learned so many times in having to deal with law enforcement that there usually is not a perception of a threat when it is a young white man.
Just real quick. Do you know how you can tell someone is a terrible lawyer? When they constantly tell you, I am a civil rights lawyer, or in any event.
Even if they are carrying a long gun, yet a lot of times, at least in this country, when it comes to law enforcement, there is a perceived threat just by somebody having a little bit more melanin in their skin. So I'm curious to know, because a lot of times, one of the things that we have consistently pushed for on my side of things, and when I say my side, is once we are looking at a tragedy in which law enforcement made an error, is the bias training and whether or not our officers are getting it. So I'm curious to know, in some of the training that you talk about that is part of your budget, has bias training been part of that?
Madam Director, if your agents see a white guy with a gun just kind of walking around, maybe pointing it at Kamala Harris, are they going to see that as a threat, or are they trained to only see black men with guns as a threat? You almost can't believe that this level of stupidity exists, yet here we are. But do you know what one of the biggest reasons that Democrats needed Kim Cheetle to resign, and they now need, in their own words, massive changes at the Secret Service? Because in the words of Florida Congressman Maxwell Frost, open socialist and Democrat, he also, I believe, is the youngest member of Congress, or at least one of the youngest. He was widely touted when he was first elected a couple of years ago as the first Generation Z congressman. He said, we need to make changes because now you're protecting the first black woman nominee, and the threats are going to be even more dramatic.
So I think this shows an issue with communication. And I want to know, Madam Director, what you intend to do to fix that, not in 60 days, but now. We are in the middle of a presidential election. Obviously, a former president who had an assassination attempt, another rally goer who was killed due to this gun violence. We now have a presumptive nominee of the Democratic Party who's also historic, first black woman to be running for president. And so I am worried about everybody's life. What do y'all intend to do to fix this communication breakdown and making sure that you actually take what local law enforcement, local folks are saying more seriously?
Wasn't super concerned when Trump came within 3 millimeters of being assassinated, but now we've got a black woman and we really need to protect that black woman. Now, I thought, because I think I was at lunch, I missed AOC's questioning of Cheadle yesterday. I thought I was going to come in and have at least like 3 or 4 just absolute banger audio sound bites from AOC. You know, I thought this was going to be vintage AOC. She was going to be asking about whether there was too much transphobia in the Secret Service. I was shocked. First, AOC on Friday puts out a video outlining exactly how it's darn near impossible to replace Biden, even with Kamala Harris, unintentionally giving up the entire game. Now, of course, she changed her tune almost instantly as soon as she was given her marching orders on Sunday afternoon. But nonetheless, I thought, this is a rare moment of honesty from AOC. And then yesterday, believe it or not, AOC did one of the very best jobs grilling Kim Cheadle, especially when she focused on the security perimeter surrounding President Trump and noted the range of an AR-15 was well within the security perimeter, and she demanded to know why.
How far away was that building from the president?
It was approximately 200 yards.
200 yards. Now, the individual used an AR-15 in order to act out his assassination attempt. An AR-15 has a range of about 400 to 600 yards. My question is, why does the Secret Service perimeter, why is the Secret Service protective perimeter shorter than one of the most popular semi-automatic weapons in the United States?
There are a number of weapons out there with a number of ranges. Again, an advance was completed. The determination of the perimeter, I'm not going to speak to specifics, but there are a number of factors that are taken into account when we determine our perimeter. Some of it has to do with terrain, some of it has to do with buildings, some of it has to do with assets and resources that are available.
And so what I'm hearing is that a perimeter was not established outdoors in an outdoor venue that would prevent an AR-15, which is one of the most common weapons used in mass shootings, from being able to be within the range of Secret Service protection.
A perimeter was established, and even though there were buildings that were outside of that perimeter, it wasn't just that building. There were a number of buildings in the area, and there was overwatch that was created to help mitigate some of those buildings.
Well, turns out they underwatched the one building that was about 150, 200 yards away from the president. Was that not incredibly effective questioning by AOC? I was, honest to goodness, stunned. And frankly, proud. What do you think, Producer Dave? We have been, for far too long, I think, been going without theme songs here on the Dan O'Donnell Show. Well, no, I was focused on the RNC, and we've also got some uncertainty surrounding what music we can use when for the podcast. What do you think? Should we bring back the theme songs here on the Dan O'Donnell Show? I think we've got to. Also, we do need a Kamala Harris theme song, right? What was our Kamala Harris theme song? I don't think so. We had Karine Jean-Pierre. Have we had a Kamala? I don't think we've had a Kamala. I'll tell you what, we will continue looking. We will bring you the unhinged liberal of the day, and we will take your votes, your suggestions on the adventknows.com talk and text line. Shoot us a text. We don't want you calling in with your suggestions, but honestly, there has got to be some theme song that we can work up very quickly. Maybe it has to do with being unburdened by what has been. Shoot us a text. Give us your suggestions for the official Dan O'Donnell Show Kamala theme song. Unhinged Liberal of the Day is coming up next.
Classical conservatism, contemporary style. Dan O'Donnell will be right back.
Who knows firsthand how debilitating spine and back problems can be, and who knows where to turn to get the highest level of spine care. The team of board-certified physicians and surgeons at Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin. You can find them at orthowisconsin.com. orthowisconsin.com. Ortho Wisconsin has treatment plans that can get you back to an active lifestyle and through the least invasive method possible. They take a multifaceted approach that allows them to use a variety of treatment options and find the best for you. Dr. Michael Nolte is their newest spine surgeon, and he and his colleagues are nationally recognized clinicians dedicated to enhancing quality of care for patients looking to restore and recover spinal function. Pain managing procedures are done at Ortho Wisconsin's Ambulatory Surgery Center in Pewaukee and at their Brookfield Clinic, and the more conservative treatments, like physical therapy, are offered at their New Berlin location as well. Find more info at orthowisconsin.com. In fact, if you have any shoulder, spine, hip, knee, or musculoskeletal pain, check out orthowisconsin.com. Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin. There is a difference.
I'm Mike Thurston, candidate for Waukesha County District Attorney, managing Waukesha's Sensitive Crimes Unit, the most difficult to prosecute criminal cases with zero case backlog. Police officers as witnesses and video evidence make drug crimes the easiest to prosecute. My opponent has a 103 case backlog involving the biggest drug dealers, not users, dealers.
I don't have the time to do the cases. Drug dealers, they don't have jobs. Their jobs are dealing drugs. And the good ones don't use because they can make more profit. So what do we do then? So we give them electronic monitoring, and they go in their house, and they pretty much can just be there all day. They can watch videos, they can play games. The only thing that changes in their life is they have to have someone trip down to Milwaukee to pick up the drugs and bring them back to the residence where they can continue to sell. That's accountability. No, it's not.
I'll make the time. Improving process so all Waukesha County District Attorney prosecutors can efficiently prosecute crime. Vote True Conservative Mike Thurston. I'm Mike Thurston. I approve this message, paid for by Mike Thurston for DA.
This is Mike and Jim from Brillo Home Improvements. It's the nature of the beast. I mean, you want every project to go smoothly. Who doesn't? But the reality is, especially with big remodels, that's not always the case. Because you never know what's going on behind those walls until you open them up.
Well, fortunately for us, the experience is there, so we aren't really surprised by surprises.
After this long, you kind of expect them. And when you can embrace that, things tend to smooth out quicker than you think.
So when you have a big remodel in mind, the crews you'll find at Brillo are the kind of folks you'll want on the job.
Seasoned and rock solid. The first trip for us was a long time ago.
And when you have that kind of experience on your side, all's well that ends well.
And that means you'll end up with a project that hits the bullseye.
For NARI award-winning home remodeling,
and about as down-to-earth of an approach as you're going to find,
go to BrilloHomeImprovements.com.
And let's take that first step.
Transforming your dreams into reality. Brillo, Brillo, Brillo.
When it comes to auto repairs, there aren't that many pleasant surprises for us as car owners, are there? That's why I love hearing stories about the honest and talented folks at Engine and Transmission Exchange. Frank says we took one of our Sprinter vans to another repair shop that would have charged us over $4,000. ETE found there was nothing needed and charged an inspection fee, and that's it. That's our first time using ETE, he says, but they'll get all of our future business. Jay wanted a second opinion on his Subaru when another mechanic was suggesting $2,000 worth of transmission work. I was surprised when Jeff called and said they found the issue and could service same day for $146. Those are stories of dramatic savings because Vince and his crews at ETE run honest shops. That's why I and many of you have come to love Engine and Transmission Exchange. All of your work will be done by ASC certified technicians. They'll only do what needs to be done, and they'll do it right. With locations on South 27th Street in Milwaukee and West Avenue in Waukesha, check out enginetrans.com. Enginetrans.com. It's Engine and and Transmission Exchange.
Zero Foxtrot isn't just a brand, it's a way of life. Founded and operated by veterans, Zero Foxtrot's unique apparel and gear echoes the grit of the warrior culture. Zero Foxtrot dedicates itself to producing content, honoring the sacrifices of forgotten heroes of the past, and connecting history to the present. Embark on a journey with Zero Foxtrot today at zerofoxtrot.com. It's not merely our products, it's about the ethos that we embody. Rugged, resilient, and timeless.
Tune in every Sunday morning at 10 a.m. as Ellen Becker Investment Group highlights local people and organizations who are using their time and their talents to give back to make a difference in our community. Milwaukee's philanthropic community. Visit ellenbecker.com to learn more.
At Semper Fi Roofing and Exteriors, we have finance options for new exterior remodeling projects for almost anybody. And if you have the right credit, we'll beat your bank's rate.
We keep you safe, warm, and dry. Semper Fi.
So, Producer Dave, we talk all the time about just how loyal our listeners are, how they remember things from years ago that we've done on this program. Your humble host forgot that we did have a Kamala Harris theme. Not only did you and our listener remember it, he actually remembered what song it was. This was when the Biden administration was desperately trying to hide Kamala because of how terrible she was. Ladies and gentlemen, the Dan O'Donnell Kamala Harris theme.
Tell me where in the world is
Kamala Harris. See, I mean, it just made sense. Now, unfortunately, they were trying to hide her, by the way. They knew how bad she was for that presidency. And we made fun of the fact that back in those halcyon days before 9% inflation, that the Biden administration could not allow Kamala Harris out in public. Unfortunately, now they've got no choice. Now, Kamala is front and center, perhaps Democrats' greatest fear, even as they're trying to convince us that they all love her and love her unconditionally. We need a new theme song, and we have already gotten hundreds of suggestions. I'm telling you, we are averaging about 2 texts a second. I am going through. I think we should have one by tomorrow. One theme song that you know by heart. We play it every day. It is time now to name the unhinged liberal of the day.
Make me crazy.
Trump is Hitler.
We are in pre-Nazi Germany.
Make me crazy.
All white people are racist.
Does that make me crazy?
Trump is dangerous because he's evil.
America is over.
Today's unhinged liberal of the day is none other than Mrs. Morning Joe, Mika Brzezinski, who says that mispronouncing Kamala Harris's name is a vicious, racist Republican attack.
And I've heard from inside Republican circles and right-wing media that the hate campaign against Kamala Harris has begun. You'll notice they purposefully pronounce her name wrong. They say Kamala. They do it all the time. It is on purpose. But the talk is to start that hate campaign and get it going and start it churning.
Yes, it is now an organized hate campaign to say Kamala, like the 90s pro wrestler, God rest his soul. If you say Kamala, you're a racist. If you say Kamala, you're cool. This is how they think, ladies and gentlemen. This is how they think. Mika Brzezinski, your unhinged liberal of the day. President Biden has now, or rather, President Biden's handlers, the cadre of 30 and 40-something they-thems who actually are running the country, have now announced that they will appoint a new Secret Service director very quickly. Hey, speaking of pronouns, did you notice what Kamala added to her official X profile? You guessed it, she, her pronouns. You're listening to the Dan O'Donnell Show. We're back right after the news.
News
that's factual, fair, and balanced. This is continuing coverage on News Talk 1130 WISN, Milwaukee.
Good morning, I'm Ted Allen. Almost all of Wisconsin's Democratic delegates are supporting Kamala Harris for president. Wisconsin Democratic Party boss Ben Wickler said yesterday 90% of Democratic delegates have signed on to back Harris at next month's Democratic National Convention. Wickler says that's 89 of the state's 95 delegates. The other 6, according to Wickler, are thinking things over and they're not ready to make a public announcement. Harris saw similar numbers from other states' delegations yesterday. Some reports say she has enough delegates to secure the presidential nomination at the convention. Wickler also said Harris's new bid for president has pumped a new level of unity and energy in Democrats in Wisconsin. The vice president will not preside over Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's joint address to Congress tomorrow. While the vice president typically presides over joint addresses, Harris is expected to be traveling for her presidential campaign. Harris is expected to meet with Netanyahu separately during his visit, however. 2 people are dead after a plane went down near the EAA Air Venture site near Oshkosh. The Winnebago County Sheriff's Office says the small plane went down in a farm field about 2 miles south of Oshkosh. Deputies say the plane burst into flames after hitting the ground. There's no word on where the plane is from or what it was doing just before it went down. Authorities in Winnebago County say it'll take some time to identify the 2 people who were on board the plane. Checking the WISN Sports Scoreboard, the Brewers and Cubs meet again tonight at Wrigley Field after the Brew Crew fell to Chicago last night. From the Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin News Center, I'm Ted Allen on Wisconsin's most listened to radio station, News Talk 1130, WISN.
Dan O'Donnell here for my awesome friends at Built-Right Furniture, Leather, and Mattresses. Built-Right's July sale and clearance is on now, including in-stock and special orders. Shop where the O'Donnell family shops. Now more than ever is the time to support Built-Right, a locally and family-owned business for 4 generations and 96 years strong. Built-Right has the best selection and team in town. Save on affordable, better quality furniture and mattresses in Wisconsin. Their 45,000 square foot showroom has thousands of items in stock, plus 500 mattresses. Special and custom orders are faster, plus check out their clearance and outlet center inside the showroom. You'll get the lowest prices on quality brands like Smith Brothers, Elran, Heirloom, and Therapeutic. Built-Right always saves you money. Voted best place to shop and open Monday through Saturday, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Sunday, they're closed to be with family. You got to get to Built-Right. Tell them Dan O'Donnell sent you to 54th and Layton in Greenfield.
Here's the latest forecast from the Fox 6 weather experts.
Periods of rain and a chance for thunderstorms today. Should see a sticky high near 84 on a steady southwest wind. Overnight tonight, more rain and thunderstorms, but tapering off by Wednesday morning. Wednesday's high near 76. I'm Fox 6 Chief Meteorologist Rob Haswell.
This report is sponsored by Unbleep Your Life Show.
Hey guys, it's your favorite psychotherapist, Anita Astley. Join me every Sunday nights from 8 to 9 p.m. and let me help you unbleep your life and relationships. An hour dedicated to helping you untangle some of those relationship knots on News Talk 1130 WISN. Don't miss out, friends.
You can't buy caviar for the same price as candy. But right now, you can buy the highest-end Beautyrest Black and Tempur-Pedic mattresses for nowhere near their highest-end prices. Hasseless Mattress is clearing out a handful of premium floor models, like the Split King Tempur-Pedic Luxe Breeze in soft or firm. Was $10,198, now just $25,448. Only a few remain, and they will sell out. Find a self-service, employee-free showroom near you at Hasseless.com.
Next Tuesday, you'll go to your business. You'll stand there in your office and make decisions. I think when you make decisions, it might be well for you to ask yourself, are you better off than you were 4 years ago? Is it easier for your business to buy things you need to increase profitability than it was 4 years ago? Does your business have more or less unemployment? Is your business as respected as it was? Do you feel your business is on as secure financial grounds as it was 4 years ago? And if you answer all those questions, yes, why then, I think your choice is very obvious as to who handles your brand and marketing. If you don't think the marketing course is what you would like to see your business follow for the next 4, then I could suggest another choice that you have.
INET is improving the economy one business at a time. CreativeGeniusMarketing.com, INET-Web.com.
In today's Marketers Report, Erica Taylor, Chief Marketing Officer of Genentech, weighs in on audio's ability to reach any audience.
Everyone is listening somewhere, somehow. So it's a great way to take something very precise in what we're trying to do to reach patients with something that I think we can all agree is somewhat broad in reaching many, many different audiences.
As the #1 audio company, iHeartMedia gives marketers access to the audiences, influencers, insights, and data you need to grow. If you're a marketer, go to iHeartResults.com.
Zero Foxtrot isn't just a brand, it's a way of life. Founded and operated by veterans, Zero Foxtrot's unique apparel and gear echoes the grit of the warrior culture. Zero Foxtrot dedicates itself to producing content, honoring the sacrifices of forgotten heroes of the past, and connecting history to the present. Embark on a journey with Zero Foxtrot today at zerofoxtrot.com. It's not merely our products, it's about the ethos that we embody. Rugged, resilient, and timeless.
Hello, I'm Joseph, owner of EWH University, where we help small businesses grow. Tune in to WISN every Sunday at 11 a.m. and visit EWHUniversity.com to learn more. That's EWHUniversity.com.
This is Wisconsin's most listened to radio station. News Talk 1130 WISN.
Be sure to listen to the Annex Wealth Management Investment Show Saturday mornings at 11 and Sunday afternoons at 1 on News Talk 1130 WISN. Annex provides its expertise to arm listeners with the knowledge and tools to invest wisely. Annex Wealth Management. Know the difference.
You can see and hear inspirational star swimmer Riley Gaines give the keynote address this Thursday morning at the first ever Saviors Summit, presented by C-Suite for Christ at Concordia University in Mequon. Meet and greet opportunities with Riley are still available. To register, go to csuiteforchrist.com.
Continuing to follow the breaking news, Secret Service Director Kimberly Cheadle has announced her resignation a day after, well, I think disastrous testimony before the Congressional Oversight Committee, would be putting it mildly, and a little more than a week after what she herself admitted was the biggest operational failure in the last 50 years of the Secret Service's operation. This is, folks, the biggest failure since the Kennedy assassination. I don't think there's any question. Had Trump not miraculously turned his head to look at Senator Ron Johnson's chart, he would have been dead. The bullet missed his head by 3 millimeters. I'm sure you've seen the graphics by now of the Trump head and the bullet's trajectory. If he's looking straight ahead at his audience, or if he's looking essentially anywhere other than directly at that chart over his shoulder, he's a dead man. The bullet strikes him right in the head. We would have had a John F. Kennedy situation. We would have had one of the darkest days in America's history. Interestingly enough, I have noticed something over the past really 4 or 5 days. The disappearance of something. Something that was described as instantly iconic, but is suddenly nowhere to be found. An image that, by right, should win the Pulitzer Prize for news photography. I'm, of course, talking about the image of Trump with his fist in the air, the American flag upside down, at least it appears to be, in the background. It's just a perfect image because the upside down flag, of course, signals distress. The flag appears to be upside down based on the angle at which it's blowing, but Trump with blood on his face, defiant. Just seconds after he was very nearly killed, Secret Service agents trying to rush him off stage. It's an incredible image. It perfectly sums up that moment in time, one of the most significant moments of our time. Folks, tell me the last time you saw that image on a news network that was not Fox or Newsmax. You tell me the last time you have seen that image, even in the pages of the New York Times, whose photographer captured it. Even the photographer himself has sort of been grousing, this image should be literally everywhere, yet I feel that it's being a little suppressed. In truth, it is being suppressed, because Democrats understand just how powerful that image is. And as we established yesterday, Trump now has, I'm not sure if this was a line that was written for him or if he just came up with it off the top of his head, but he's now got the perfect line to counter Democrats' one argument against his presidency, against his candidacy. Well, he's a threat to democracy. He's a threat. He said, I'm a threat to democracy. I just took a bullet for democracy. It is an absolutely perfect line. It is the perfect rebuttal to everything they have said. All of their arguments have now boiled down to Donald Trump is a threat to democracy. That's it. That's the only thing they have. But it's not working. Neither did their lawfare. Have you noticed Democrats haven't really been touting the fact that Trump is now a 34-time convicted felon? Isn't that weird? Don't you think that would be the thing that they focus on? Because, again, the image of Trump taking a legal bullet for this country is very powerful, not just to his supporters, but for all of the people who understand what was going on. I dubbed it the Scott Walker effect. The reason that Trump's poll numbers didn't absolutely crater after he was convicted of 34 felonies is that the American people see right through all of this. They see right through the threat to democracy rhetoric. They see right through all of the attempts to get Trump to prosecute him out of the political race because they can't beat him at the ballot box or battle box, as Joe Biden said a couple of weeks ago. We got to beat him at the battle box. Okay, Joe. Okay. This does feel a little bit. Have you ever read the book of Mice and Men? I feel like every high schooler, when we were growing up, producer Dave, was required to read Of Mice and Men. Fantastic. Absolutely. Steinbeck, right? That was a Steinbeck novel. Yeah, John Steinbeck. What's that? Festus? No, it's Lenny and George. Well, producer Dave clearly failed English 9. Dave was not the superstar in the English lit class, but this totally feels like at the end when George tells Lenny about the rabbits. Remember, they're gonna live with the rabbits or something. He's gonna pet the rabbits, and because Lenny is I believe he's accidentally murdered a little girl. It's been 30 years since I read this book. Give me a break here. He says, tell me about the rabbits, George. And then George is like telling him about the rabbit. And because he knows that they're going to lynch him as a mercy to his lifelong friend, he pulls out the gun and shoots him in the back of the head. This absolutely felt like they Lennied Joe Biden. And now it's the Kamala show. And we will be here to discuss. 414-799-1130. You can reach us toll free, 1-800-838-9476. Email me directly, DOD@iHeartMedia.com. Watch the show streaming live via the Dan O'Cam at Dan O'Donnell Show on X, Facebook.com/Dan O'Donnell Show, or our YouTube channel. Just search for Dan O'Donnell Show. Nationwide keyword this hour in the sizzling summer cash contest is grand. Win a grand, $1,000 if you go to our website, enter the keyword grand to enter the contest for this hour, and you could walk away with a grand in your pocket. Ladies and gentlemen, we do have some more breaking news to report. We have had a Tammy Baldwin sighting. I can't believe it. You can't believe it. We have actually seen Tammy Baldwin. She was seen getting on the, was that Air Force One that they were on? Air Force Two? Oh, the campaign plane then. Yeah. I believe they call it Air Force Two. Yeah. So they were getting on some plane or another to fly to Milwaukee, where Kamala is going to make an appearance, her very first appearance as a presidential candidate and the presumptive nominee of the Democratic Party. She is going to be right here in southeast Wisconsin. Now, this was not her very first appearance. Her first appearance yesterday afternoon, where she was talking to Biden campaign volunteers and workers, and, well, she had a please clap Jeb Bush moment.
Our president, Joe Biden, wanted to be here today. He is feeling much better and recovering fast, and he looks forward to getting back on the road. And I wanted to say a few words about our president. Joe Biden's legacy of accomplishment over the past 3 years is unmatched in modern history. In one term, he has already, yes, you may clap.
Ouch. Yeah, you can clap for everything he's done in the past 3.5 years. Yeah, Joe, yay. Here is ultimately the problem with Kamala Harris's candidacy, and I believe all Democrats know it. The reason that just hours before the media got its marching orders to give Harris the Barack Obama 2008 thrill up the leg treatment, the New York Times actually ranked her as the least electable Democrat out of all the potential successors to Joe Biden. It's because A, she is and has always been farther to the left than even Joe himself. In fact, a couple of years ago, in 2020, she was doing an interview with Norah O'Donnell of CBS News, and O'Donnell actually had to remind her, you are, in fact, Senator Harris, the single most liberal candidate or the single most liberal member of the Senate. And Kamala said, well, that's a right-wing trick. Do we have that soundbite, producer Dave? Did the Norah O'Donnell? Yeah, it's okay. Don't worry about it. We'll get to that a little bit later on. In the show. It's okay. I've got some other stuff I want to get to here. But this is fundamentally the problem with Kamala Harris's candidacy. Not only is she much farther to the left than Joe. Remember, when Joe was campaigning in 2020, it was as good old Scranton Joe. He was seen as the most moderate alternative, and he was the reason this moderation, or at least perceived moderation, being one of the old guard, steady hand Democrats who wasn't like one of these fire-breathing and, well, mouth-breathing far-left liberals of the AOC generation who, frankly, terrified a whole lot of traditional Democrat voters. They don't want to be woke. They want to be traditional Democrats with traditional Democrat values. And Joe was seen as the only candidate in the race who could do that. Well, Kamala, frankly, isn't. Kamala was always on the left flank. Here we go. Here's Norah O'Donnell. This was during the 2020 campaign, having to remind Kamala of her liberal voting record.
You're very different in the policies that you've supported in the past. You're considered the most liberal United States senator.
Somebody said that, and it actually was Mike Pence on the debate stage. But
yeah, well, actually, the nonpartisan GovTrack has rated you as the most liberal senator. You supported the Green New Deal. You supported Medicare for all.
Ladies and gentlemen, I wish you could have seen Kamala's face in that moment where it wasn't just a Mike Pence attack, Norah O'Donnell. Well, actually, a nonpartisan group has said you're the most liberal senator. She just goes, you know what is it from the Billy Joel song Piano Man? As a smile ran away from his face. This was as a cackle ran away from her lips. That was Kamala Harris in that moment. We do now have more breaking news via Fox News. Tomorrow at 7 o'clock Central Time in the evening, Joe Biden is going to address the nation for the first time since announcing that he is not going to be a candidate for president president. He is refusing to accept the nomination, and there was some concern that Biden wasn't actually alive. Is it too much to ask for in this historic moment of a president later than perhaps ever before, certainly ever in the primary era of American presidential politics, a sitting president announcing that he's not going to stand for, is it too much to actually see and hear from the man? Is that too much to ask as American people? So he is going to speak at 7 o'clock tomorrow night. Obviously, I am not a member of management, but I can say I'm going to pull rank on this one. We are going to be carrying the president's address live. Yeah, I'm forcing your hand right now. Well, you know what I'm doing to you? I'm doing exactly what Democrats did to Biden. All right, Jerry Bott, WISN station program director, I dare you not to run the Biden remarks. Folks, it is absolutely an historic moment. I do believe we should be running it. And producer Dave, I don't know what you're doing tomorrow night. I've got no plans. Wife and kids are off at violin camp. I've got nothing to do. You're prepping for Belling Show? How'd you like to prep while anchoring some live coverage of Biden? All right, you're here anyway? All right, it's a date. Scotch is on me. President Biden addresses the nation tomorrow night. Dan O'Donnell Show returns after just a couple of minutes.
Our iHeartRadio Music Festival, presented by Capital One.
Coming back to Las Vegas. September 20th and 21st. Streaming live only on Hulu.
A weekend full of superstar performances.
Tickets are on sale now at AXS.com. That's AXS.com.
Capital One is the proud presenting partner of the 2024 iHeartRadio Music Festival, bringing great products, rewards, and services to its customers. What's in your wallet?
Dan O'Donnell for the Lynch family of dealerships, letting you know about the Lynch tent sales event. Summer has finally arrived, and that means it's time to get your vehicle ready for that annual road trip up north, or maybe you're heading out to your favorite county fair or concert. You can always trust the Lynch Service Department with their convenient hours to get your vehicle safe and ready for the road. But maybe your current ride needs a little more TLC than usual. Maybe it's time to visit the showroom and receive a $2,500 trade assist on top of Kelley Blue Book Fair trade-in value for your current car. It's the Lynch Tent Sales Event all month long, with hundreds of vehicles priced aggressively to sell and a $2,500 trade assistance on top of Kelley Blue Book Fair value. The deals are heating up at Lynch. Take that road trip up north in the comfort of a new or Lynch-certified car, truck, or SUV. The Lynch Tent Sales Event happening all month long. Visit a showroom today or visit shoplynch.com.
Sick of all the homeowner headaches? Tired of being a landlord? Did you inherit a property? Go to MetroMilwaukeeHomebuyer.com. We are a local family business, A+ with the BBB. It will make you a fair as-is cash offer within 24 hours. No fees, just cash. MetroMilwaukeeHomebuyer.com.
If you're someone who's experiencing shoulder, spine, hip, knee, or musculoskeletal pain and a total joint replacement might be in your future, think Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin. Their physicians specialize in same-day total joint replacements at their own ambulatory surgery center. See orthowisconsin.com.
Stop what you're doing and listen to this. Your God-given freedoms are up for the taking, and those doing the taking are the same people who've sworn to defend your freedom. They think they can control the media, hide the truth, and force their delusions onto your family. You know what they can't take away? Self-reliance, peace of mind. Got water filtration? You should. A charged solar generator? You better. Emergency food on your shelf? Get it now from My Patriot Supply. My Patriot Supply is the most trusted name in survival, and for damn good reason, too. Go to MyPatriotSupply.com right now and save $200 on their best-selling 3-month emergency food kit. It delivers over 2,000 calories per day, plus sealed inside practically unpierceable packaging. It lasts up to 25 years. Oh, and did I mention it's delicious? Go to MyPatriotSupply.com and save $200 per kit. Includes fast and free shipping. That's MyPatriotSupply.com.
There's only one store that gives you every possible choice in diamonds.
Welcome to Kessler's.
a song by Mr. Wives in the Dan O'Donnell Show bumper music rotation. For those new to the program, and we are growing by leaps and bounds, obviously, with, I still think, the biggest news week of my entire life. Obviously, 9/11 was the single biggest news event that I think most of us have lived through. But in terms of massive, globe-shattering events, it's pretty hard to compete with a former president and current leading candidate for president coming within 3 millimeters of being assassinated. 2 days later, a Republican National Convention, and then 2 days after the convention ends, 3 days actually, the current president announcing that he's not going to seek another term. It has been a whirlwind week and a half. And we have gotten a whole lot of new listeners because of it. And I thank each and every one of you. We do play pretty non-traditional bumper music. You're not likely to hear Journey on the Dan O'Donnell Show. We try to freshen it up. And yes, a lot of the hip hop and electronic dance music, EDM, as the kids say, violin music, is a tribute to my family. People are asking, wait, they're at violin camp this week? Yes. In a related story, violin camp is actually a thing. You go for a week and it's a whole lot of intense training with world-renowned teachers, and it's just very cool. The kids love going to it. My oldest is actually not going. He was on a trip and it's at soccer, and basically I'm a swinging single this week, which means, as one does, I like to, go out, explore the nightlife. And by that, I mean I am going to be right here anchoring live coverage tomorrow night of Biden's address to the nation. It's scheduled to begin at 7 o'clock. Producer Dave and I are going to pick up coverage. It was just announced or just confirmed. Jerry Bott poked his head in here, the program director at WISN, our boss, and he was sort of amazed that I was actually volunteering to anchor coverage. What do you mean I know why? Oh, yeah. Dave goes, how are we going to take this speech when Belling is now taking his show to at least 7:15? As soon as Belling goes off the air, could be 6:15, could be 6:45. Who knows? We're not sure. Whenever Belling vacates the studio, Dave and I will go on tomorrow night with live coverage of President Biden. Oh, excuse me. Just had to sneeze. Into the Dano cam. This is why I wish television cameras had a cough button where the feed would just blink out. So yes, if you want a nice screenshot of Dan O'Donnell sneezing, there it is. Kamala Harris is easily, I think, the worst choice that Democrats could have made, not just because she cackles and she says dumb things. Okay, substantively and politically, she is inheriting not just the Biden war chest and not just his campaign apparatus as essentially the only candidate who could do so under Federal Election Commission regulations. She's also inheriting the Biden record. She's also a major part of the policy that Americans in droves have been saying for 3.5 years they despise. What are the two biggest issues? Issues, not personality, not anything like that. Issues driving this election. Number one, inflation. What I have now termed an affordability crisis. Americans can no longer afford the things they could during the Trump administration. It's a massive problem. Number two, illegal immigration. Biden's border czar within the first 2 months of the administration. This was Kamala's very first high-profile project. She was going to fix the southern border. It's worse than it ever has been at any point in this nation's history, ever, on her watch. She's the border czar. I mean, the ads write themselves. Kamala Harris was put in charge of fixing the southern border. That was 10 million illegal immigrants ago. Americans don't like her, not because she's a black woman, not because they're so racist and sexist and misogynistic, but because they've seen Kamala Harris and they've seen what she has done in the Biden administration, and they despise her for it. She owns every single one of Biden's failures. Had Democrats pivoted and instead, over the past 48 hours, all gotten behind, say, Gavin Newsom, he would have had to have defended his record in California. You've got to be kidding me. You've got to be kidding me. All right, ladies and gentlemen, all right, you know what? We're gonna go to a break because we have a number. Yeah, Dave, I'm not sure if I can go with this. We have potentially another massive breaking story going on right now, as if there could be any more massive breaking stories going on right now. I'm not this. You know what? We're going to step aside for a break. I'm sorry. I'm kind of discombobulated. Okay, we're going to go to a break. We're going to try to confirm this breaking news that is into us. If we can, we will get it to you in just a couple of minutes right here on the Dan O'Donnell Show.
I'm Brett Ochtenhagen, owner of Brett Ochtenhagen Seasonal Services. I frequently speak with people who are unhappy with their landscaping and they're unsure how to turn things around. Well, here are 4 tasks that will make a remarkable improvement to dull landscaping. Number 1, thick, lush green grass. We need food and water to be healthy. Our lawn care programs and irrigation systems provide your grass with everything it needs to thrive. Number 2, pruning. Regular, technically correct pruning keeps plants strong and vibrant. Number 3, plant bed edging and a fresh layer of bark mulch. There's nothing better than the look of crisp bed edges and fresh mulch. Number 4, landscape lighting. You finally have your landscaping looking its best. A landscape lighting system lets your landscaping come alive after dark. So there you are, 4 landscaping tips that amplify the beauty of your home. Please call Seasonal Services at 262-392-3444 or look for us online at seasonalservices.com.
For more information about contests on News Talk 1130 WISN, go to newstalk1130.com/rules.
It's Dan O'Donnell this week with Annex Wealth Management, joined by the CEO of Annex, Dave Spano. And this week, of course, seismic political news is dominating as President Biden makes the surprising yet not shocking decision to drop out of the 2024 presidential race.
Yeah, you look at it and you think about the last time we spoke, we had an assassination attempt. We had the exposure of who the vice president nominee will be for the RNC. We had Joe Biden drop out, and we had the coronation of the current vice president all in 1 week's time. But there's no question you can compare and contrast the policies between the two. And folks, there are significant changes. You can go right down the list. Talk about taxation, immigration, economic growth, perhaps tariffs. What is the growth plan going to look like? But what is in front of everyone's mind right now is what is inflation going to look like? As you know, Dan, we use that as one of our main inputs to try to get people from point A to point B. So we need to know that number. The Federal Reserve is going to come out and have a meeting, and followed by a very likely cut in September. So a lot of moving parts. The economic news is moving quick. Of course, we talked about some black swan events. We saw a couple, and the market took it in stride. Folks, now more than ever, you got to go through this portfolio review. Make sure you're aligned with all the changing landscape and the different facts and circumstances that will be thrown at us in the next 90 days.
In short, you need to know what you own and why you own it. We talk about it often here, and it's truer now than perhaps it ever has been. You need to get that review of your portfolio. It's called a wealth metric, and it is available only at annexwealth.com. For Dave Spano, the CEO of Annex, I'm Dan O'Donnell. This has been This Week with Annex Wealth Management.
While most other furniture finishers restore wood furniture using high-pressure water to remove old lacquer and varnish, we only only use a chemical solvent. Because when you use water, it will eventually raise the grain, loosen glue joints, and lift veneer. So if you have something really special that you'd like to restore, call us. For the finest in furniture finishing and heirloom restoration, by golly, it's Mullally. Mullally Furniture Finishing and Repair. Serving everywhere. Quality counts. MULLALY finishing.com. If you want your restored antique piece to remain primitive, no problem. Maybe you want to restore it to as good as new condition. We can do that. The way we work is based solely on what your needs are. And that seems to make the process of restoring your unique piece almost always a positive one. So if you're looking for the finest in furniture finishing and heirloom restoration, by golly, it's Mullally. Mullally Furniture Finishing and Repair. We're no job's too small. Serving everywhere. Quality counts. MULLALY finishing.com.
Your current car, soon to be your old car. A new car? Better start looking. But you've got this. Just like Associated Bank's got you with free credit score for Choice and Platinum Choice checking customers. Because when you know you need to make a big purchase, knowing your credit score puts you in the driver's seat. You've got this with free credit score from Associated Bank. See AssociatedBank.com/checking or ask a banker for details. Member FDIC.
Have you ever wished your bathtub was a walk-in shower? If you thought about it, you've probably discovered days of construction and mess. But with Bathfitter, you can get a custom tub-to-shower conversion in one day. Imagine that. Monday, you're using your old tub, and Tuesday, you've got a brand new walk-in shower. Call now, 262-395-4925. For a limited time, call and save up to $1,200 or no interest until 2029. Same-day appointments are available. Trust Bathfitter, celebrating 40 years in business this year with over 2 million happy customers.
Hey, it's summer and it's time to inspect your roof. Does it look damaged or faded? Are the shingles missing? Let us take a look with a free consultation. You can't find a better warranty anywhere, I guarantee. Visit KlausRoofingByBuck.com and remember, put a Klaus on your house.
If you or a loved one needs a personal injury attorney, ask around. Lawyers, judges, law enforcement officers, insurance adjusters, refer Warshevsky because we achieve maximum judgments and settlements. Their ordeal, their injury is about the money. Warshevsky.com.
Reality Construction is celebrating 28 years in business with 5% off your summer remodel. Our new showroom in Butler is a one-stop save money this summer shop. Your remodeling reality will be better than you can imagine. RealityConstructionLLC.com.
Get your rock-solid guaranteed pre-approval to buy at ACCUNET.com.
Classical conservatism. Contemporary style. This is the Dan O'Donnell Show.
Well, I apologize for that tease. There was news circulating that former President Jimmy Carter had passed away. It appears that a lot of people have fallen for a very obviously hoaxed press release in which they basically rip on Jimmy Carter's foreign policy in announcing his death. Jimmy Carter, very much alive at the age of 99. Did you know the man turns 100 in 70 days? Now, I don't want to jinx it like People magazine did to poor Betty White. Betty White turns 100 was their big celebratory cover. And she passed away like a week and a half before her 100th birthday. R.I.P. to a real one, Betty White. But no, Jimmy Carter is alive. This reminds me of that Simpsons episode, Who Shot Mr. Burns? Jimmy Carter was pronounced dead. He was then taken to a better hospital where his condition was upgraded to alive. So you heard producer Dave just happened to see some. Always look, Dave, there is clearly still value in, and I want to use this as sort of a broader topic about trusting in media, because I reported the same outlets. I was talking about Laura Loomer. She always seems to be at the center of this stupid, and I don't think I have come close to swearing on this radio show, but I am very, very close right now. This stupid bleep always seems to center around her. She was the one posting last night, Biden is already dead. He's already, what a thing to stake what remains of your reputation on, that Biden is dead, or he's in a coma. Charlie Kirk, too. Well, I've got sources with the Las Vegas Metro Police Department. Even he sort of couched it and said, hey, it's very weird. I'm kind of following up on this. You don't report on it. And I don't want to be that guy, like the hey, here's how you report news, here's how you don't. But you notice I did not say a word. And I'm sorry to keep all of you hanging on a thread. It did not seem right. And I kind of, as you were saying that, Dave, I sort of popped up social media and I saw the press release, and the fact that it wasn't being retweeted by, coming from the official Jimmy Carter Twitter account is usually a dead giveaway. When it's just a screenshot of a press release, just assume it's fake. And folks, there is going to be so much fake crap from now until Election Day that is designed to trick you. It comes from both sides. Classic example. Democrats right now are spending an absolute fortune, I am told, trying to get you to vote no on the 2 referenda that are on the ballot this August 13th. Believe it or not, every single person has something on the ballot in the partisan primary coming up in just a couple of weeks. They are 2 statewide ballot questions, and they deal with whether the governor should essentially have to defer to the legislature before spending money. Yeah, that's what both the state and federal constitutions sort of delineate, that Congress has the power of the purse. Here in Wisconsin, the legislature has the power of the purse. Governor Evers doesn't just get to hoard COVID money like he's a dragon guarding treasure. He needs to have authorization from the legislature on how to spend. So if you are a conservative who believes in constitutional principles and limited shared power amongst the 3 branches of state government, as I suspect you are, you will vote yes on those 3 or those 2 ballot questions coming up on the 13th. So vote yes. There is a big campaign. I've seen a number of examples, mailers being mailed to people saying vote no because, and by necessity, I wish they could put these ballot questions, these constitutional amendment questions, in plain English for all manner of legal reasons. You need to have specific legal language that people vote on. Should Governor Evers have to have permission from the legislature to spend money that's given to the state of Wisconsin? Yes, obviously, yes. Okay. Just answer yes on both referenda. I have been asked to comment on that, and I probably will. When things nationally cool down a little, folks, I will do a tremendous amount of work and put a tremendous amount of showtime into the referendum questions, the amendment questions, the partisan primaries here. We have gotten, I'm sure you've heard the ads on WISN. If you're listening to us in the Milwaukee area, the Waukesha County District Attorney's race is easily the most bitterly contested primary in our area. Interestingly enough, what I thought would be the most fiery race, granted I'm several hundred miles away from the district, but the race to replace Mike Gallagher, a 3-way race between Andre Jacques, Roger Roth, and Tony Weed, doesn't really seem to have generated the fireworks, at least down here that I'm hearing. I'm sure up there everybody is, sick of all the ads. But the big race here is Thurston versus Basie. I am told we have been pronouncing Leslie Basie's name wrong. For that, I do apologize. It is not Bosie. It is not a Bosie headphone. It is Leslie Basie. They're both assistant district attorneys. They're both running as Republicans to replace Sue Opper as Waukesha County District Attorney, and that race is just getting incredibly bitter. Obviously, a very important race for Waukesha County. And I do apologize. I have not been focused really in the last 2 weeks on local issues, which normally, state issues, this is my bread and butter. This is the stuff I'm really most passionate about. But obviously, national politics has been front and center, as I've said. I can't remember a week in my lifetime or any of our lifetimes that has had more just bombshell news than this. And frankly, folks, that's why before the break, when producer Dave is in my ear saying, I think Jimmy Carter just died, I'm saying, no way. No way could we have on top of that. One president is nearly assassinated. Another president announces that he's not going to seek another term. And then another president dies. That would just be the trifecta of news coverage. Would it not? We have been playing throughout the first couple of days of Kamala's ascendancy here on the Dan O'Donnell Show. Her greatest hits, the things that make Kamala, well, Kamala. How about just last July when she was touting the importance of the strategic and personal relationship that the United States has with North Korea?
So the United States shares a very important relationship, which is an alliance with the Republic of North Korea. And it is an alliance that is strong and enduring.
Yeah, the U.S. and North Korea, that strong and enduring alliance. We are also checking in on your suggestions for the Kamala Harris theme song. So far, the leaders, the Clubhouse leaders, are Karma Chameleon by Boy George. I would suspect because Karma, in the way he sings it, Kama, 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 Chameleon, sounds like Kamala. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. We have got a very strong voter base of boomers who want yakety sax. I think anytime there is something funny, there will be a boomer there to suggest yakety sax. I think every time I have done this on the program, put it out there for theme song suggestions, there are at least 5 people. I've got to tell you, whoever it was that wrote yakety sax, you have an indelible, immortal hit amongst the baby boom generation because they cannot get enough yakety sax. One suggestion, which I am taking very, very seriously, is because Kamala Harris is inheriting Biden's war chest, inheriting his campaign staff, inheriting his entire campaign. What if we just repurposed the Joe Biden idiot theme for Kamala Harris? It just sort of makes sense, right? And of course, the other suggestion that I have heard more often is because Kamala can't stop talking about how much she loves yellow school buses, the wheels on the bus go round and round. Stay tuned to hear which song we pick as the official Kamala Harris theme song. We'll be right back after this break here on the Dan O'Donnell Show.
Do you need to get a new roof this year but have some concerns? Hi, Colleen here from Tri-County Contracting. Here are some common concerns. 1. I don't know where to start. There's so many roofing companies. Start with Tri-County Contracting. We've been installing new roofs for homeowners like you since the late 70s. We promise the estimate process will be fast and pressure-free. 2. What shingle color do I pick? We can help you match the existing color or help pick a new color. We have our new Berlin showroom full of CertainTeed shingles for you to see up close. We also have a map on our website that you can pick any shingle color and see homes near you where we've installed that color. Go to TriCountyContractingWI.com. 3. I don't want the process to take forever. I want to get this roof off my to-do list. We work hard to have the whole process move as quickly as possible. From getting the estimate to scheduling to getting the roof completed is a fast process. The roof itself usually only takes 1 to 2 days. Worry-free roofing, siding, and windows. Tri-County Contracting.
This is Michael Lynch from Lynch Truck Center. For the first time ever, Lynch Truck Center is having a massive construction sale on over 400 in-stock trucks, which include Chevrolet, GMC, Hino, and Isuzu. You will not want to miss it. We're adding parking, 7 more truck bays, and expanded parts storage, so we can better serve you, our customer. Did you know our experienced sales staff sold more Chevrolet medium-duty trucks and cab overs than all the other dealers in the state combined? With their knowledge on upfits, combined with our service department, we deliver turnkey vehicles for your business, including the right body for your application, bin packages, and even lettered when it's delivered right to your door. As a business owner, has managing your fleet grown into a full-time job? Our fleet department can help. We provide a free fleet analysis which guides you when to trade, help track expenses for maintenance, fuel, and even vehicle tracking. You'll be shocked on the money and time you can save, not to mention having new vehicles under warranty. Visit lynchtruckcenter.com and give us a shot. We won't disappoint you.
This is Mike and Jim from Brillo Home Improvements. It's the nature of the beast. I mean, you want every project to go smoothly. Who doesn't? But the reality is, especially with big remodels, that's not always the case, because you never know what's going on behind those walls until you open them up.
Well, fortunately for us, the experience is there, so we aren't really surprised by surprises.
After this long, you kind of expect them. And when you can embrace that, things tend to smooth out quicker than you think.
So when you have a big remodel in mind, the crews you'll find at Brillo are the kind of folks you'll want on the job.
Seasoned and rock solid. The first trip for us was a long time ago.
And when you have that kind of experience on your side, all's well that ends well.
And that means you'll end up with a project that hits the bullseye.
For NARI award-winning home remodeling,
and about as down-to-earth of an approach as you're going to find,
go to BrilloHomeImprovements.com.
And let's take that first step.
Transforming your dreams into reality. Brillo, Brillo, Brillo.
NYPD officer Jonathan Diller's tragic story made national headlines this year. Now, Jonathan was shot and killed by a career criminal during a traffic stop. Jonathan, who's just 31 years old, leaves behind his wife Stephanie and one-year-old son Ryan. Now, nothing will ever replace the loss of a husband and a father, but the Tunnel to Towers Foundation was able to pay off the mortgage on the Diller family's home. Please commit to $11 a month. Go to their website, the letter T, the number 2, the letter T.org for the Tunnel to Towers Foundation. Hey, you've heard me say that cell phone service with Pure Talk is half the cost of Verizon, AT&T, and T-Mobile. $20 a month, you get unlimited talk and text, plenty of data, and you think, okay, Hannity, what's the catch? Well, there isn't one. Just ask the thousands of listeners who have made the switch of mine, and they love Pure Talk and their U.S. customer service, the great coverage on America's most dependable 5G network. Dial pound 250, say the keyword save now to start saving now on your cell phone plan.
Repairing sunken or uneven concrete can be easy, clean, and half the price of replacing your concrete. Contact Raise Right to fix your trip hazards, driveway, sidewalk, pool deck, and more. Concrete lifting holes are small and nearly invisible. Go to WeRaiseConcrete.com. Raise Right, the #1 concrete lifting, foundation repair, and waterproofing team for Wisconsin homeowners. WeRaiseConcrete.com. That's WeRaiseConcrete.com.
Have you heard that real estate commissions are coming down? Ask your 6% broker if they're still charging 6%. Spoiler alert, they are. Before you overpay to sell your home, Google Redefined Realty. We have 15 to 20 agents, 3 local offices, West Bend, Waukesha, and Pewaukee, and over 500 5-star Google reviews. At just 3.99%, you can sell your home for a fair price and get the professional full-service MLS representation that you deserve. Don't pay 6% in such a hot housing market. It's just 3.99% at Redefined Realty for the same thing.
Portions of the following program were pre-recorded.
I actually think, based on your suggestions, ladies and gentlemen, we do have a winner for the new Kamala Harris theme song. As she is campaigning in the Milwaukee area, she will be speaking at West Dallas Central. She is en route to Mitchell International Airport in Milwaukee, where she will travel with Senator Tammy Baldwin, presumably be greeted by Governor Tony Evers as she lands. And she will speak at West Dallas Central High School. We expect that to happen sometime at about 1 p.m. We will be monitoring that address. Obviously, Mark Belling and Vicki McKenna will be providing complete coverage. You might even hear Clay and Buck dip into that press conference as she campaigns for the very first time as the presumptive presidential nominee. And she is, in fact, the presumptive nominee. It took Democrats all of about 43 hours to make it all but official. 2,000 delegates have now pledged their support to Kamala. All 50 state party chairs, including here in Wisconsin, Ben Wickler, the man who always looks like he just belched, has thrown his support behind Kamala Harris after arguing passionately about why Joe Biden is the only candidate who can defeat Donald Trump as recently as last week. The way these people just follow orders, turn on a dime, and abandon every principle that they pretend to have is never anything short of hilarious to me. Also, we were following breaking news from earlier this morning. Secret Service Director Kimberly Cheetle, facing bipartisan pressure to step down, has submitted her resignation following a disastrous, utterly shambolic performance at a congressional hearing yesterday in which she admitted that the single biggest operational failure in decades was the assassination attempt on Donald Trump. The Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel is very concerned about retaliatory attacks based on the Trump assassination attempt. You think I'm kidding? There has not been any hint of any sort of violence or anything coming from the right. But Quinn Clark of the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel has this report. Experts monitoring whether Trump assassination attempt could spark retaliation. When former President Donald Trump made his first appearance after surviving an assassination attempt at the Republican National Convention last week, the crowd erupted into chants of fight, fight, fight. That chant has become a rallying cry for Trump supporters. So too has the image of Trump's raised fist, which has been circulated by Wisconsin GOP leaders, including former Governor Scott Walker, Wisconsin Assembly Speaker Robin Vos, and Senator Ron Johnson. That's the kind of rhetoric and imagery that Kirk Braddock, an assistant professor at American University, keeps an eye on. Braddock, who studies how political rhetoric can radicalize audiences, remembers the last time the word fight was widely adopted by Trump supporters. On January 6, 2020, when Trump exhorted rally-goers to fight like hell right before people swarmed the Capitol. Did you notice anything about that last sentence? On January 6th, 2020. January 6th, 2020. I'm not saying Quinn Clark is not the brightest person in the world. Okay, well, I am saying Quinn Clark is not the brightest person in the world. Rather, obviously, it was January 6, 2021. This is your entire thesis, Quinn. Quinn, baby, booby. You gotta get the date right. Otherwise, people like me will make fun of you for not knowing a thing about what it is you're talking about. You have to go all the way down to about paragraph 7 before Ms. Quinn makes this admission. Experts say they haven't seen specific groups call supporters to action, but warned that the heated discourse still warrants concern and monitoring in the lead up to the election. Do you know what is not focused on at all in this article? The heated rhetoric coming from the left, calling Trump a threat to democracy because of his actions on January 6, 2020, according to Quinn Clark, that clearly radicalized this guy. And isn't it interesting that the Quinn Clarks of the world at the Washington Post, New York Times, all of the biggest newspapers, all of the major news networks have absolutely no interest in digging into this guy's back. Oh, well, he registered as a Republican the second he turned 18. This must mean he's a Republican. Clearly, this was a guy who is a gun nut and just wanted... Yes, we have no idea what his motivation was in trying to kill Donald Trump. Do you know what his motivation was? Trying to kill Donald Trump. His motivation was Donald Trump being dead. Does that sound like a hardcore Trumper? Was he climbing up that ladder with the gun in his hands and he had to peel off his MAGA hat while he was doing it? He wanted Trump dead, you idiots. But in this report, focused on all of the horrible rhetoric since January 6, 2020, she uses yours truly. Still, several conservative figures use their platforms during the convention to blame the assassination attempt on Democrats and the media. For example, in a post on the social platform X, locally known conservative radio host Dan O'Donnell's post asked CNN political commentator Essie Cupp to tell your leftist viewers to stop trying to assassinate Republicans. Information on the shooter's political beliefs is still inconclusive. Braddock said today's massive social media platforms make such rhetoric more risky. When you're reaching thousands, if not millions of people, it becomes much more probable that some people will interpret it as a call to engage in violence. And unfortunately, it only takes one person to do a lot of damage. So basically, me telling SC Cup to tell her viewers to stop trying to kill Republicans. Remember, a leftist tried to assassinate Steve Scalise and Rand Paul and the Republican Congressional Baseball Team in 2017, and a rather obvious leftist or leftist sympathizer tried to assassinate the most prominent Republican of the last 30 years a couple of days ago. This, according to Quinn Clark, who never once contacted me for comment on this story, is an example of the rhetoric that could inspire people to what? Stop trying to kill Republicans? That's all I'm asking for. And by the way, I was not asking SC Cup that. I was telling her, please tell your viewers, stop trying to assassinate Republicans. It's getting old. We're getting tired of it. Quinn Clark, I'd love to talk to you about this. I think I'm free on January 6, 2020. You blithering idiot. Dan O'Donnell Show back tomorrow.